بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد وعجل فرجهم. I would like to welcome all my young Azakhana-e Imam Al-Hussain to another Ashra of Majalis, which will be conducted by Agha Hamza Sodagar, Shaykh al-Islam. First of all, to begin the Majlis as usual, I would like to invite Brother Askari Abbas to start the Majlis with the recitation of the Holy Quran.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Qul huwallahu ahad, Allahu samad, lam yalid wa lam yulad wa lam yakul lahu kufuwan ahad.
Thank you, Brother Askari, for your wonderful recitation. Another reminder that the Quran should be an essential part of our daily lives. The Imam Al-Hussain, even after he was martyred, kept on reciting it on the spear after his head was mounted. Its value is immeasurable, and there is an infinite amount we can learn from the Holy Quran. Next up, I would like to invite Brother Jari Abbas to recite As-Salam for us. Jari?
Assalamu alaikum. The moon of Muharram has come. The moon of Muharram has come. The tears and the cries have begun. The skies are covered in gloom. Angels are mourning as one. The moon of Muharram has come. The hearts of the pious are numb. The days of Hussain have begun. All of us are now shaken. The moon of Muharram has come. Hussain will lose his sons. Yazid will kill everyone. Children will be under the sun. The moon of Muharram has come. Hot were the days and the sun. All were killed one by one. Imam was left with no one. The moon of Muharram has come. The moon of Muharram has come. The moon of Muharram has come. Salawat.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم. Thank you, Jari, for a wonderful recitation. Indeed, today is the beginning of the month of Muharram, and from these Majalis, I urge all of you to take away as much as you can, because Imam Hussain and his sacrifice is something that will keep educating and teaching humanity till the end of times. And it would be nothing but foolish if we don't learn from the numerous and immeasurable lessons taught to us by Imam Hussain. Now, without further ado, I would like to invite Brother Muhammad Kamal Rizvi to recite a Marsiya for us. Kamal.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Muhammad wa alaikum salawat. Allah Karbala के तूने तो देखे होंगे उतरे थे से ज़मीं पर अर्शे बरी के तारे एक चांद जलवगर है हाशिम का चांद यहाँ पर खैरात रोशनी की ले लीजियो यहाँ से चांद इस ज़मीन पर रखियो हमेशा ठंडक सोते जो आप ज़हरा के ये प्यारे चांद तस्लीम सलसबीलो कौसर के मालिक मारे गए जो प्यासे इससे नहर के किनारे चांद हुर और हबीब जैसे जाबाज मारे गए वहीं पर अंसार शादी के चांद मारे गए यहीं पर बेदर दियो सितम से मुस्लिम के दोनों बेटे ज़ैनब के दोनों प्यारे चांद पामाल हो रही कासिम की लाश रन में अब्बास और सरवर चुनते थे उनके टुकड़े चांद बाजू कटे ही पर पास वफा के इज़्ने न पाया पानी बिला न पाए चांद इस बन में के बच्ची बाबा को ढूंढती थी बिखरे हुए थे जब से बुरी जलाशे चांद फिर ये भी तूने देखा वो गम सीधा बच्ची सीने पे सो रही थी वैसे दर्स लिपटी चांद बाजू बंदे यहीं पर मुहर्रम के इस ज़मीन से निकले सजाद से झुकाए ए जान करबला के तूने तो देखे होंगे उतरे ज़मीन अर्श परी के तारे ए चांद बर मोहम्मद वाले मोहम्मद सलवात
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم. Thank you, Kumail, for a wonderful recitation. Also, can we recite Surah Fatiha with a salawat for all of our marhameen, especially for the shuhada of this ummah and for those that have laid down their lives for this purpose. The kalam that he just recited was popularized by Sibta Jafar Sahab, who was a wonderful servant of the Ahlul Bayt and who was martyred in this cause as well. So, with the salawat, we'll recite the Fatiha for all the marhameen. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم. Okay, so now without further delay, I would like to invite Shaykh al-Islam al-Muslimin, Shaykh Maulana Hamza Sodagar, to begin the Majlis now.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين بارئ الخلائق أجمعين باعث الأنبياء والمرسلين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ونبينا وحبيب قلوبنا وطبيب نفوسنا وشفيع ذنوبنا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المكرمين المنتجبين لا سيما بقية الله في الأراضين روحي وأرواح العالمين لتراب مقدمه الفداء ولعنة الله على أعدائهم أجمعين إلى قيام يوم الدين. For the hastening and the return of our Imam, let's recite a salawat. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم. Inshallah, for his well-being, let's recite the second one louder. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farajahum. Inshallah, each and every one of us becomes a true and close companion of that Imam. Let's recite the third one louder. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farajahum. We thank Allah for allowing us once again to be able to commemorate the Shahada of Imam Al-Hussain and his companions, and we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us the companions of the 12th Imam. There's a direct connection between the uprising of Imam Al-Hussain, the movement of Imam Al-Hussain, the sacrifice of Imam Al-Hussain, and the coming and the return of the 12th Imam. And since that's not the topic of my discussion, I will just make it brief in that the slogan of the 12th Imam has been mentioned to be Ya Latharat al-Hussain. That should be enough for us to know that there is a direct connection between the coming of the 12th Imam and the movement of Imam Al-Hussain, that tells us that in the context of Muharram, commemorating Imam Al-Hussain, one of the things that we must be having on our minds, on our thoughts, reflecting upon and moving toward is the 12th Imam and becoming his companions. We chose the theme of the companions of the 12th Imam in the 21st century because it is important for us to know that while the 12th Imam for the last 1,000 years has had companions in each era, in each century. We, as those who dwell in the 21st century, need to understand our position as his followers, those who strive to be, aspire to be the companions of that Imam in the 21st century. We need to understand what that means for us, especially for you who are younger in age. You have the privilege of being at an age where you are developing yourselves. Your thoughts are developing, your ideologies are developing, your character is developing. And this is a prime time, a golden age for you to understand who you are and what you want to aspire to become. The shayateen of the world, the abalis of the world, the devils of the world, the tyrants of the world, those who create mischief, the ones who try to run the world, the one who use the resources that God has given them, the wealth, the riches that God has given them, they use them to control people, to turn the next generation into what they think they want the world to look like. They are presenting all these wrong, ugly, filthy ideals, personalities, characters. They are talking about your ages and younger, deciding their gender, deciding whether they want to be a boy or a girl for these ages. They are promoting the idea of leaving it to a 5-6-year-old in certain countries to decide whether or not, while they are born a boy or a girl, that they're going to decide whether or not they want to be a boy or a girl. This is the ugliness and the filthiness that we are seeing these monsters are promoting and trying to teach our next generation what type of things to think about, what type of things for them to consider important. We, as followers of Imam Al-Hussain, we, as those who have access to the riches of the Quran, we might not have access to the riches financially of the world today. We may not be as wealthy in terms of money as some of these celebrities, as the Brad Pitts of the world, as these actors and actresses of the world. We may not be as wealthy as the rulers of the world, the Joe Bidens and the kings and queens of Britain and Spain and these other countries which are still monarchies. We may not have the access to wealth as some of these so-called Muslim rulers who are not Muslim, like the Saudi dynasty in Arabia, but we have access to the richest, most valuable resource that God has provided to anyone, which is the Quran. We have access to the most valuable resource that anyone can have access to, and that is the Ahlul Bayt. That is Imam Al-Hussain, that is Imam Al-Hujjah, that is the lady Fatima-Zahra, that is the lady Zainab, that is Bibi Fatima Ma'suma, that is the mother of the 12th Imam. All these great men and women that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has shown us as role models. We have got to use these resources to figure out, to understand, to set a role model, a direction, a vision for the future. Those of us who have already been part of this, who have already figured that this is the direction, what that direction is, at least to a certain degree, it is our responsibility to try to present these riches, these values, these ideas, these prescriptions that God has given to mankind to present us with prosperity in this life and the next. these values that will change what the world looks like today if the next generation picks up the values of the Quran, the values of Imam Al-Hussain, the values of Amir al-Mu'mineen, the values of, above all, the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If the people of the world adopt these great values and live based on them, the world as we know it will be much different. The beauty that some of us are enjoying, the construction that some of us are enjoying, the jobs that some of us are enjoying, the wealth that some of us are enjoying is going to be accessible by all people. It will be available to all people. It will be something that we will all enjoy. Instead of having areas of town that are referred to as ghettos, places where you cannot find those resources, places that people cannot survive without assistance and help, places that need charity all year round, because there's always going to be people that will be homeless, people that are foodless, people that are clothless, people that need all these resources. And I'm not talking about Africa, South America, different parts of Asia. I'm not referring to those areas. I'm referring to downtown Washington, D.C. I'm talking about downtown Seattle, Washington. I'm talking about downtown Los Angeles. I'm talking about downtown San Francisco. I'm talking about downtown New York. I'm talking about downtown London. I'm talking about the areas of Europe that are filled with riches. While there are all those riches available, there are people that are suffering, people that are deprived, people who are unable to make ends meet while all those resources are around. Some people are so full, so much access to so many resources, they don't know what to do. They're going about and finding substances that make them go crazy momentarily and do whatever the heck they want, while others are suffering from bare minimum resources not being available to them. That world that we live in, the vision that Islam presents, if the people of the world, all of us, adopt that vision, we are going to turn this world into the vision, the image that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has told us in the Holy Quran, and that is the heavens and the earth will be presenting us with blessings day in and day out. Allah will be sending blessings, material blessings, technological advancements. And these are what we have about the 12th Imam. We have this. It's important that we note the vision of Islam for the future, the vision of the 12th Imam for the future is definitely not going back to riding camels. The vision of Islam for the future is not a vision that is filled with a whole bunch of Islamic centers or Hussainiyas and masjids and all we do is beat our chest. No, that's part of it. But that's not the only thing. The vision of Islam for the future is one that technological advancement is there. The speed of that advancement is much greater than what we're seeing today. And the benefits of that advancement are not limited to a few. The access to those advancements is available to all. So the rate is much greater, and the areas that will be affected by that are going to be much more widespread. The beautiful beaches of the world, the beautiful scenes of the world are not going to be available to some of the wealthiest only, and the other areas and the other people not having a clue what these beautiful sights are like and are unable to enjoy these beauties of the world. No, the vision of Islam is beautiful. In order to move in that direction, it is important that you all, especially the younger ones, around 10 years of age, in their early teens, it is important for you to learn of this vision of Islam. It is important for you as companions, those who decide, and I'm sure if you are here to commemorate Imam Al-Hussain, if you're here to commemorate Ashura, if you are here to recite your Salam or Marsiya, or you're here to recite your Matam, then you're here for the Ahlul Bayt. if you're on board this ark of salvation, as we call it, in Al-Hussain, Misbah al-Huda wa Safinatu najat, the Imam is the ark of salvation, the Ahlul Bayt are the ark of salvation. We want to be on board that ark, and inshallah we are, if we want to be active members of that, to bring more people aboard that ark of salvation, to make that valuable asset that we have available, that God has given us, available to all people, not be like those who want to keep these assets, these treasures, these jewels, these gems, whatever they have available to themselves. They want to restrict others from having access. We don't want to be like that. We have a resource that's valuable to all, and that is the Ahlul Bayt. We want to share that. If we want to do that, which is the definition of being the companion of the 12th Imam in the 21st century, then we must learn what that vision is, and we must learn what the Imam is doing to move toward that vision. And therefore we must understand that based on what the Imam is doing to get to that vision, as his companions, or those who want to be his companions, those who aspire to be his companions, what should we be doing? Who are we? So without any further ado, I want to, after introducing this topic, just for a few minutes today, be able to talk about what the vision of Imam al-Hujjah Ajjalallahu Ta'ala Farajahu Sharif, the vision of Imam Al-Hussain. When Imam Al-Hussain started from Medina, his uprising against Yazid, this was not a reaction to some of the things that were happening, and the Imam is simply unhappy with what he's seeing, and he's just voicing that absence of happiness, that unhappiness. He's just voicing that in the form of a protest, just going out and, I don't know, giving speeches, speaking against Yazid. Why? Because he's just unhappy with what he's seeing. No, the movement of Imam Al-Hussain is with a vision that the Imam has for the future, an impact that he's trying to make, an impact that he wants to have on the world. And he knows, as God has told him, that his role in the world, the universe, on that scale, that is what the Imam is thinking of. And it's important for us to at least be able to process this a little bit, at least. The Imam is starting this movement with a vision in mind, a vision that has to do with the future of the world for the centuries to come, for the entirety of the globe, all people. And that's what the Imam is thinking of. He's got a vision in mind. We have to understand that vision. We have to understand that vision. What do we mean by that vision? The Imam understands where he is. The Imam understands what status quo is. He understands what the Muslim community is dealing with in the various cities of the Islamic empire, if we may call it that, and it was an empire at the time. The various cities of Egypt, of Sham, of Arabia, of Persia, all those areas that had fallen to Islam, the people had surrendered to Islam, the people had adopted Islam. The Imam is seeing the status quo, seeing what the ruler is like, seeing the direction, seeing the trajectory of that nation, the way it's going, the direction it's headed, with the rulers, with the elite. He's seeing that. He's seeing outside of the Islamic world. He knows of the Americas at the time. He knows of Australia at the time. He knows of what's going on in China and in Europe and in Africa. Others don't, but the Imam does. He sees that the people that are supposed to bring this change on a global scale are supposed to be the followers of the Prophet. They are supposed to bring that prosperity, bring that justice, bring all those great things to the world. And the nation of the Prophet is being bogged down with the rulers that it has, moving away from the direction that God has determined, moving away from the vision that Allah has presented in the Quran, the Prophet presented in his words, he sees that the direction has changed and it is changing further and further away. The rails are twisting away and that train is headed in the opposite direction. If those rails, that the direction is not changed back, he sees that status quo. He sees what the conditions are. And he understands what the direction is. He understands what he needs to see in the nation of the Prophet and in the world. He's trying to bring that train, bring that nation, and with that, the entire world back on tracks to and toward the destination that is the vision of Islam, the vision of the Holy Prophet, the vision presented in the Holy Quran. Imam Al-Hussain, when he's standing, he doesn't just protest what is happening. He has a solution for what must happen. He has a solution not to what they need to do right there and then alone. He has a solution, as we said, to move toward that vision. It is important for us to understand what that vision is. I said a few words regarding that vision. I'll use certain terms now. I gave some descriptions of what it looks, but I want to mention some of the qualities instead of some of the very specific descriptions. And inshallah, in this session, which maybe we'll have another 5 or so minutes, we'll talk about some of these ideas. There's a few elements that need to be combined in this vision. And again, that vision can be described in different ways, just like paradise, for example, which is the vision of the future beyond this life. Look at the Quran in that way. When the Quran describes the hereafter, when the Quran describes paradise and hell, that is the vision that God says, I'm giving you as the ruler of the globe, the ruler of the universe, the King of Kings, God, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He says, I have a vision for the future. The future of the world is not the way it looks like right now. The future of the world is different. In this world, in this life, pre-resurrection, the vision is different. And he has said that there will be a change, and that change is led by the 12th Imam. And he tells us the vision of the better life, and that is the one after death. He gives descriptions in different ways. Sometimes those descriptions are vivid descriptions of the fruits, the streams, the scenery, what you're going to be seeing, what you're going to be experiencing, the types of things that you're going to be enjoying. Those things are some of the descriptions. And some of them are not descriptions, vivid descriptions of the scenery and what you're going to be seeing and what you're going to be enjoying, what you're going to be taking pleasure in, but rather some of the qualities of life that you're going to be enjoying there. Not a specific scene or a specific thing that you'll be momentarily enjoying and then moving on to the next. So the description of the vision of the Imams, the Quran for the future of humanity can be explained in both of those ways. I explained some of those vivid descriptions of the technological advancements and some of the things that you're going to be seeing, the justice, some of the things you're not going to be seeing, like the homeless. You're not going to be seeing homeless people, not because we got rid of all of them in the form of killing them, which is a solution of the Bill Gates of this world, the solution of the Jeff Bezos of this world, the solution of the Elon Musks of this world. That's their solution. Get rid of population, get rid of people, kill them off with various means and measures. No, that's not the vision of Islam. That's not the direction of Islam. We get rid of it by addressing the actual problem, by addressing the greed and so on and so forth. I don't want to go on that type of description of the vision of Islam for the future. But I want to talk about some qualities that need to be combined. One element is spirituality. One of the things that in the vision of Islam is absolutely necessary in order to have prosperity, in order to have falah, there is an element that is the foundation of falah. Material prosperity without this item on the list is impossible. That item on the list, the most fundamental item on the list is spirituality. A world without proper spirituality is bound to end in the mess that we're in right now. There's no other way. So what is this? Spirituality, very briefly put, is that a person realizes and believes that they are the creation of God. A person believes and realizes that they are subject to the authority and the sovereignty of the Almighty. And they understand that they are held accountable by the All-Sovereign, by the Almighty God. And everything that they do and say is going to be recorded, and they're going to be living the rest of their eternal life based on that. This is a very brief description of spirituality and what we mean by that. Human beings must come to this realization. Human beings must have this understanding for various reasons, but I want to talk about it in the context of what that vision looks like. That's why we're talking about it here at this time. If you want to have a world where there are no homeless people, if you want to see a world that everyone is taken care of, if you want to see a world that the nice pavements of roads is not limited to certain areas of certain cities in certain countries of the world, and then when you go to South America, when you go to Africa, when you go to South Asia, when you go to Central Asia, when you go to various other parts of the world, you find that the roads are undeveloped or underdeveloped. You find that water is not available. You find that electricity is not available. You find all these riches is not available. The only way to not see that is if people all collectively have that understanding. Why? Because if people don't have that understanding, if people believe the lie that there is no God, they believe the lie that there is no accountability, they believe the lie that you are who you are in the form of this body, the flesh, the desires, the experiences, everything, including your thoughts, is limited and restricted to this body. Your thoughts are in your brain, there's chemical reactions and so on and so forth. People who believe in that lie are going to be using whatever's available to them to enjoy life for themselves, and there is absolutely no reason for them to care about anyone else. Therefore, they are going to create a military for fun. They will use ammunition to see what it does to people. They will drop an atomic bomb on a city in Japan just to see what it actually does to people. That's the only reason the nuke was used by the United States of America in the Second World War. Japan had already surrendered. All of you should have read that if you read history. If you've learned of the history of the Second World War, as they call it, Japan had already lost the war, had already surrendered. They dropped not one, two bombs. You already did the first one. What the heck did you do the second one for? Again, it's a different type of bomb. We wanted to see what that one does to people. We have it. We'll drop it where we want it. We will unleash wars on whomever we want. We will create wars. We will stop Ukraine from accepting any type of ceasefire deal with Russia. Why? Because we want to use taxpayer money, European money, people's money, collect all of that for our military industrial complex. Ability. This is the only life we have. We only have one life. Let's enjoy as much as I want to do this. Why the heck would I not? Why would I care if the women and children are getting killed in Iraq, in Afghanistan, in various parts of Africa, in Europe today, in Ukraine? People are getting killed. I don't care. It's feeding my desires. I benefit from that. Why would I care? If there's no God, if there's no accountability, it's just me and this flesh, and I only have one life to live, and I have these opportunities. I want to take every single one of them. There's no reason why I won't. But a people who collectively, all of them, see the presence of God, they realize that God is, He has given us choice, but He is still in control. And He is giving us this opportunity for us to use to either become better people and enjoy better life in the hereafter. And in this life, this is vision for the future, is for the good people, for the believers to rule the earth. That's what He says in the Quran. And for those who want to choose otherwise, let them choose otherwise. You're going to be held accountable. Whatever you do, say, think, all of that is going to determine where you are in your future personally. That's a reality. People who think that way, they would be willing, like Imam Al-Hussain, to sacrifice themselves to serve others. They will be willing to do that. They will never be willing, even if they are forced, they are not going to be willing to fight for a wrong cause. They will not be willing to take the life of another person. You can take my life, but I'm not taking the life of another person. You can take my life, but I'm not going to steal from another person. You can take my life, but I am not going to Vietnam. Okay. And these are examples that a people that collectively have that thought process will never be engaged in violating the rights of others, stealing the resources for anyone. In fact, they would be developing technologies to use in the right way. Instead of developing nuclear technology to use in nukes to kill people, they'll be figuring out how to use nuclear fusion, which is something that, as far as I know, has still not been developed. It's a dream to have power taken from nuclear fusion. That's an ultimate advancement that we're still not there. We know it's possible because we've seen what fusion does in the atomic bomb, but we don't know how to use that without harming people to make electricity and help people. We still haven't developed that. We're content with whatever we have because it's too difficult. We don't want to spend money. No, people who believe in God, people who believe in accountability, they will be going through hoops to try to make that advancement, not for their own pocket, but to serve God's creation, to serve God by serving His creation. And that's what people with that. That's one element, spirituality. Another is, and I'll be brief on this one because we're already somewhat familiar, but I want to emphasize, the vision of Islam includes much greater advancements in the sciences, much greater advancements in the technologies, much greater advancements in human convenience, human leisure time. The world of Islam is not a world that has any less fun activities available to mankind. This should be made very clear, very clear. Islam's vision has more recreation, more physical beauty, more and more beautiful architecture, greater pleasure in the scenery, greater pleasure in the experiences, the fun experiences of the various forms, including music and the film industry, and so much more that we have not developed. These things are not going to go away. These things are not things that are just lingering there. When the 12th Imam comes, he's going to get rid of movie making. No more films. We're going to shut that industry down. That's the vision. No, that's not the vision of Islam. Whoever thinks that's what Islam propagates is at best ignorant of what Islam is talking about. The arts are going to be developed. The various art forms are going to be developed. That's the vision that Islam has. Technologies will be developed much further. The sciences will be developed much further. The recreational options available to us, the resorts that are available, the water parks, the theme parks, all these things that people enjoy are going to be available on a much greater scale, much greater scale. This is nothing compared to what it's going to become. This is combined with spirituality. See, the problem right now we have is that theme parks are a place where you are pushed to deviate from the path of God. When theme parks are going to be designed for people to enjoy themselves to the max in the context of obeying what God has said in this life and then preparing for the next life, the pleasure of it, the joy of it is on a different level. People don't enjoy themselves in these theme parks. They make all that money, they go to the theme park. Everybody has insecurities. This person looks like they don't obey God, right? So people are dressed in clothing that God is not happy with. And then their thoughts are uncleansed because they don't have that spirituality. They look at the bodies of each other like they feel more insecure. They don't enjoy it. And then they start having jealousy and they pass comments. They hate each other. While they have those smiles on, they don't feel happy. That's why there's so much suicide. That's why so many antidepressants are being taken. That's why there's so much mental health issues in the richest parts of the world. There's the most mental health issues that you can imagine. Why? Because people aren't happy. You have all the theme parks. You have all these things that seem to be creating a lot of experiences of joy and pleasure for people, but people are depressed. People are not enjoying it. While they're there, they don't enjoy it. Before and after, planning for it, they're in trouble. When they're there, they're in trouble. When they're back, they're in trouble. No, it's a development that accompanies that spirituality. And lastly, and this may be seen to be redundant, but it's not, the responsibility of the believers is to develop this world. The developments of the world, the developments in terms of how the cities look, how the environment looks. The oceans right now, they say, are filled with junk, with human waste that nobody cares about. Natural life is affected. Ugly scenes of aquatic creatures, the sea creatures, what plastic has done to them. Horrific images that are hard to watch. It's a whale or it's a shark or some other creature, but stuck in some piece of plastic. It's ruined it, it's cut it, it's bleeding, it's dying. The oil spills, the landfills, the way we're dealing with it, all these things, the environment that we're living in, the air we breathe, the water we have, not for ourselves alone, for all these beautiful creatures. We love having them around and watching them, but then at the same time, we kill them to extinction. That's what we do. We've done that many times. Is this the environment we're supposed to live in? Is this how we're supposed to see these creatures? Is this how the world should be looking like? Is this how earth should be looking like? No, we as Khalifatullah on earth, we have got to develop this globe, develop it, not just for ourselves. We are responsible to take care of this in this life. It's earth alone in this life that we have. We have to take care of it. It should look much more pleasing to the eye, much more friendly to the other living creatures, the balance that needs to be there. That's the job of the believers. You're never going to travel anywhere in the world that is going to look ugly. That's how it should be. That's the vision of Islam. That's the vision of Islam. That's not the vision of what we like to see. No, God says, I want you to turn the earth into that. Allah says, I want you. I'm doing it, but I want you to be the means through which I do this. It is important for us to understand what the vision of Islam is, and it's important for us to understand what the vision of Islam is not. The wrong visions of Islam are promoted in the names of Salafism, in the name of Wahhabism, and in some forms of Tashayyu, where they think the only thing that Islam is going to promote, the only thing that Tashayyu is going to promote, the only thing that we're going to have if we take over, what's going to happen? We're just going to have a lot of black all over the place because we're constantly going to be doing matam. Is that what the vision of Imam Al-Hussain was? Is that what he sacrificed his life for? For the world to be having black all over it? All the buildings should have black inside and black outside, and everybody dressed in black, everybody crying 24/7 year round, and that's it. Just develop your qasidas and your manqabats and your salams and your nohas and all of that, and that's it. That's the only thing we're supposed to enjoy in life. If you don't like it, tough luck, and there's not. No, that's not it. That is not it. That is not the vision of Islam. It is important for the companions of the 12th Imam to know what the vision of Islam is, not the vision of kuffar. Their vision is this nightmare of a thing that's happening right now. This discrimination that is happening, these ugly scenes that we see, that's their vision, and it's only going to get worse. It is only going to get worse. We hope that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us the tawfiq to understand further. I only highlighted some points. There's a lot more. I encourage all of you to think more about this and to study about it and develop your thoughts. In your ages, it's important to think of these things, hear of these things. So you develop the right ideology, the right understanding of Islam, inshallah, by the right of the Lady Fatima Al-Zahra and Imam Al-Hussain. You will develop your thoughts along those lines, the lines of the Quran, the lines of the Ahlul Bayt, Salamullah alayhim ajma'in. We'll have a few words to remember Imam Al-Hussain. This is the first day of Muharram. Sallallahu alayka ya Aba Abdullah. Sallallahu alayka ya Madhlum. أيها الشهيد بكربلاء عطشانا. May Allah's peace and blessings be upon you, my beloved Imam Al-Hussain. May Allah's peace and blessings be upon you, my beloved oppressed Imam, the Imam who was by the Sharia, but who was slaughtered while his lips were dry of thirst. روحي فداك يا حسين يا أبا عبد الله. We are your lovers. This is the first day of Muharram. You're on your way to Karbala. As your lovers, we would like to join you, Ya Hussain. You went to the tent of Zuhair on the way to Karbala. You convinced someone who did not want to be with you to join you. But Ya Aba Abdullah, we are your lovers. Can we join you? We want to be with you in Karbala. We want to die for you in Karbala. We want to be sent to the battlefield before you in Karbala. ألا لعنة الله على القوم الظالمين وسيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون. يا حسين.
Ya Hussein, 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 Ya Hussein. शम्मा से शम्मा जले, सिलसिला जारी रहे, हम रहे या ना रहे, ये आजादारी रहे. शम्मा से शम्मा जले, सिलसिला जारी रहे, हम रहे या ना रहे, ये आजादारी रहे. शम्मा से शम्मा जले, अपनी नस्लों को सिखाते रहो मातम का हुनर, सीना दर सीना चले बस ये आजादारी सफर. जैसे हालात भी हो रस्म ये जारी रहे, हम रहे या ना रहे, ये आजादारी रहे. शम्मा से शम्मा जले, सिलसिला जारी रहे, हम रहे या ना रहे, ये आजादारी रहे. शम्मा से शम्मा जले, ये सभी ले यूं ही आबाद रहे अहले अज़ा, और घर घर में नजर आए अलम गाजी का. ये अलम ऊंचा रहे, ये अलम दारी रहे, हम रहे या ना रहे, ये आजादारी रहे. शम्मा से शम जले, लाख बदले ये जमाने की रविश और मौसम, एक पल भी ना रुके अश्के अज़ा और मातम. मातमे शह का जुनून जहन पर तारी रहे, हम रहे या ना रहे, ये आजादारी रहे. शम्मा से शम्मा जले, माओ बहनों तो है पैगाम मेरा सिर्फ यही, अपने बच्चों को जलूसों से नहीं रोको कभी. ये शहादत है शरफ, ये शरफ जारी रहे, हम रहे या ना रहे, ये आजादारी रहे शम्मा से शम्मा जले या हुसैन 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 अल्लाहुम्मा सल्ली अला मुहम्मद व आलि मुहम्मद वअज्जिल फरजहum.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad wa ajil farajahum. Before we close, I should have reminded everyone earlier, that's my mistake. Whoever wants to recite during these majalis, please contact Brother Daniel Asad, and inshallah you should be able to recite before or after the majlis as you please. And with that, I would like to thank the speaker, Sheikh al-Islam Muslimin, Maulana Hamza Sodagar, and all the mu'mineen who joined, and specifically Brother Askari Abbas, Kamal, Jari and Khurshid as well for their contribution to the Majalis. May Allah accept our amal, and inshallah we will see you all again tomorrow at 3:30 p.m. Inshallah, see you again. Allah Hafiz.